Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Whitney, and it's already time for our March TBR. I've got 8 books on my TBR so far, and then I have a lot of books on my shelf, plural. I've got more shelves upstairs that I have not read, and so I'm trying to get that number down this year versus getting a lot of books that are new or from the library. And so I have come up with this jar, it held pickles I believe, of prompts that I'm going to draw a couple from each month. And I was doing this even before I started making videos for booktube. I have been doing this all year, so I did this in January and for February. But I thought it would be fun to draw 2 prompts and pick 2 more books to add to my TBR. So I'll have a total of 10 books on my TBR, and that's a good number for me. I like to have some variety. I am a mood reader, and so I want to be able to pick up something on a whim and not feel pressured to finish a whole bunch of books. So let's get right into it. So the first book I'm going to try to get to this month is Brandon Sanderson's Words of Radiance. This is the 2nd volume in the Stormlight Archive. I just read the first one in January. I wanted to get to this in February. It just didn't work out. I was in a major reading slump all month, and so it just didn't happen. But I'm really excited to continue on with the series, and there's not much I can say about this since it's book 2 in a series, but it is a chunker. This is one of those little paperback, you know, the cheapo paperback ones, but it is a thick one. But Brandon Sanderson just has a way of writing characters that draw me in, and I fall in love with the characters, and I've already done so in the first book, so I'm excited to continue on with the second installment. The next book on my list is Cress. It's the 3rd book in the Lunar Chronicles. I read the Lunar Chronicles a long time ago, like when it first came out, I believe. And I enjoyed them back then, but it's been so long, and so my daughter has been wanting to read them. So I'm a book ahead of her. I kind of like to pre-read just to make sure that the content is suitable for her. And she's been loving them, and she is like, read the next one, please, please. So I am on the 3rd one. They're basically like fairy tale retellings with a sci-fi twist. So this one is about Cress, who I think represents Rapunzel, I think. But the same cast of characters will be in this as well as the first that were in the first 2. We're just introduced to a few more. So I have enjoyed the series, not as much as I did the first time around, but it's been a fine read. So I'm looking forward to reading this so my daughter can get to this one as well. The next book I'm reading is part of Chantelle from Chantelle Reads All Day Read Your Shelf Challenge. The prompt for March is, the book starts with the next letter of the alphabet. So like her Read Your Shelf Challenge prompts, they are building on each other each month. So last month for the prompt, I read So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, which was the 4th book of the Hitchhiker's Galaxy series. And so since that started with an S, for March, I'm picking up Theater Shoes. I've never read any of the shoe books. If you're familiar with You've Got Mail, you know, they play a part in that movie. And so I'm excited to dig in. I know my daughter has read Ballet Shoes, and I believe she's read Theater Shoes, but I have not. And so I am excited to give this one a try as well. And then it will obviously help me reach my prompt for the month for my Read Your Shelf Challenge. But I really know nothing about these books. I kind of like going into most of my books with a blank slate, and so I can't tell you anything about this, but I'll let you know in my wrap up. Okay, so the next few books on my TBR are all middle grade because I like to participate in middle grade March. And these are all books that I have not read. I have no rereads. So the first one on that list is My Diary from the Edge of the World. I don't know if you caught my video where Savannah Grace and I did the blindfold challenge. This was the book that I lost with. Spoiler, my bad. But she described this cover, and it's a pretty busy cover. There's a lot going on, and I had no clue what she was talking about, but she loved this book. She is a series girl. She loves reading series, but she really in particular enjoyed this standalone, so I'm excited to get to it so she will be able to talk about her feelings about this book with me. She tends to have big feelings when it comes to books, which I love, so I'm excited. I think it's about a girl, Gracie, who something happens to her brother, I believe. And so her and her family go on a quest to find her brother. But there are also, it's a fantasy, so there are a lot of mythical creatures, I think, in here. So we'll see. I'm excited to give this one a try. Okay, so the next one on my list is Boy by Roald Dahl. And Roald Dahl has been in the news a lot lately with all of the controversy surrounding whether his books should be changed or not. But this is one that I haven't read. I have loved quite a few of his books, and this one I think is just a story of his own life and where he got some of the ideas for his fantastical stories. I'm sure that it's, not quite as it seems. But I'm excited to read this and learn a little bit more about him and the way that he saw the world and how he came up with his stories. The next book on my shelf that I'm going to pick up is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. Again, I know nothing about this other than it's a middle grade fantasy. I know some people have thoughts on this one, whether they really, really love it or they really, really don't. It seems like I've not seen or heard anyone fall in the middle. Like it's a pretty polarizing book, it seems, and I like books like that, and I am always drawn to read them for myself to see which side I fall on. So this is going to be fairly soon in March. I will get to this one. The next book is Amina's Voice. Sorry for the cover. I hate when bookstores put the sticker right there. It could not come off. But anyway, it's a beautiful cover otherwise. But this is about a young girl named Amina, and she starts middle school, and a lot of her friends are changing. They're deciding to make their names more Americanized, and some are even talking about changing the way they dress, and she has to figure out where she falls in that camp. Is she going to go along with it, or is she going to stick with what she feels in her heart to be the right thing for her? So I'm excited to read this. I picked it up, I think 99 cents is what it says, at our discount store here in town, and it's been sitting on my shelf for quite a while, so I'm excited to get to this one as well. And the last book before I get into my prompts is The Silver Pencil. This has been on my bookshelf, my goodness, since my oldest, who is now 21, was in middle school, and I have yet to read it, but I'm excited to pick it up. I think the premise is this little girl gets a special pencil for Christmas, and she's encouraged to write her stories. And so she writes down stories of her life in Trinidad, and I believe something happens in her family, and her family has to leave Trinidad, and so her silver pencil helps her write down the stories to remember her beloved home. So we'll see. We'll see how I like this one. Savannah Grace really enjoyed this one, so I'm sure I will as well. Okay, time for the prompts, the pickle jar prompts. Let's see, I've got all sorts of different prompts in here, so we'll just pull two and see what they are. Hopefully they're not too crazy. Okay, so the first one is a blue cover. Okay, a book with a blue cover. This is kind of more green, but as I saw it on the shelf, it was blue. It's Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. And I have been inspired to read more classics, so this will be great. So there's the prompt, or the book for prompt 1. Let's see. Prompt number 2 is a color in the title. Interesting that both of the ones I chose were about color. So a color in the title. So like the silver pencil would work for this, but again, the whole point is to read my bookshelf. So let's see what I can find. There are several books that I found that could fit that prompt of a color in the title. I believe the only one that I've read before, but it's been a very long time, is Bluebirds. This is a story written in verse, and I believe that it's about 2 girls. One girl who comes over to the New World from England, and then one Native American girl who, I guess, meet, and they can't speak the same language, but somehow they become friends. But I really like books in verse like this. They're fast to read, but it's an interesting medium, and it's an interesting way to get your point across with very few words. And so that's an option. All right, the next book I found is The Witch of Blackbird Pond. I believe this is a book about a girl who moves to New England and she meets an older lady who is then put on trial during the Salem witch trials because the town believes that she's a witch. So this is about Kit, and she has to figure out, is she going to abandon her friend who is now accused, or is she going to stand by her? So that's another option. The next one I've picked up is The Golden Goblet, and I believe this is about a young boy who wants to be a goldsmith like his dad, but he's poor and he doesn't have any skills, but he does find a gold goblet that's priceless, and so his luck is about to change, I guess. So that's another option. The next one I picked up is Blue Willow, another one with blue in the title. But this is about a young girl whose family is part of like traveling workers, and so they have to travel with her father as he gets work. And so this blue plate that she has, this Blue Willow plate, is her most prized possession. And so she, I guess, takes it along with her, and her desire is to set down roots and be in a community. And so I guess it's just her journey to finding that. And then the last one I picked up to fit the prompt would be Redwall. This is a fairly popular fantasy. I think it's about a mouse with a sword. I don't really know anything about it, but I think that for the month of March, I'll probably pick up, I don't know, I feel like the one that appeals to me most right now would be Blue Willow. It's also a middle grade, so it fits the middle grade March theme. It's fairly short, and I don't know, I've never read it, I've never heard anything about it really, so I'm intrigued. So I think this will be the last book that I add to my March TBR. Okay, so there you have it. There are the 10 books that I plan on getting to in the month of March. Which hopefully I'll get to all of them and still have time to do some mood reading as well. But I'd love to know, what are you planning on reading in the month of March? Have you read any of these books? Are they good choices? Are they not so good choices? Let me know what you think about the books in the comments as well. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed to see more of my videos. Thanks.